Hello everybody, Savat the Mighty here, and I'm back with another Eve Echoes video. So again, we're on the Fulmination test server, and we are doing more ship requests. And today's ship request, we do have the Caldari ship here. It is a battleship, and it is the Rokh. Alright, so before we get started, I would just like to say, if you do like my content, please leave a like on the video, subscribe, and ring that notification bell if you want to be notified whenever I do release new content in the future. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Alright, so the Caldari Rokh, like I said before, is a Tier 9 battleship. This ship is a Caldari ship, and we are going more into the railgun range here. So like the video that I did on the Apocalypse, this would be the equivalent of the Apocalypse just for the railguns. So some things to mention here at first. For the bonuses on this ship, it does get large railgun operation bonus per level, plus 10% large railgun optimal range. As well as battleship command bonus, it gets 4% shield resistances per level. For the basic information on this ship, its overall defense is 61,583, with a flight velocity of 112, warp speed of 2, power grid output is 10,623, capacitor is 10,616, and the cargo hold is 1,250. It is primarily a shield tank, and its base resistance is it has a 0 EM, 28 thermal, 40 kinetic, and 50 explosive. So again, this is on the test server, so I do have max skills, 5s and everything, so this is what the ship would look like once it is completed. In our high slots, we have 8 different turret slots. In each one of those, in this fit, we have a core C-type large rifled railgun. Now this ship does get bonuses to its shield resistances, which would make it optimal for fitting a close range fit as well. However, because it has that range bonus also, it can also be used to do a long range fit. And that's what we're going to take a look at today, kind of a comparison to the Apocalypse. In the mid slots, I am using 2 Haley target painters. And I have 1 Mark 7 large group shield booster. Obviously this could be better, it's just what I had in there. I don't plan on using it very much or at all for this, but the best you can get to put in there would be better. I have 2 Mark 7 ogres. I actually had a little bit of a dilemma with the drones here. At first I was thinking maybe I would put some of those wardens in, as the wardens themselves have quite a big range on them, optimal range of 60 with accuracy fall off of 42. However, after thinking about it for not more than a couple of seconds, I realized the drone control range on this ship is 35 km, so it's not going to be able to hit any further out than that anyway, so having those on there would be quite pointless. Regardless of what their range is, it just matters what your drone control range is as well in order to hit those targets. So I went ahead with the ogres, put those in there. In our low slots, I'm running the 4 Eagle tracking computers, again to do kind of the longest range possible fit that you can with this. As long as you cycle these out, everything should be running. The 4th one that you add on here does practically nothing, but it does let you keep those active for the longer period of time. I do have the GIST C-type large micro warp drive, and a Corellium C-type magnetic field stabilizer. Overall, for the damage on this ship, cold, you're looking at 1,157.35 DPS, with 91.95 damage from the drones. However, that damage is really never going to come into effect. Hopefully, we're going to stay far enough away and just blap everything from the distance. So its total offense of 1,249.3 is kind of misleading because those drones aren't really doing anything. Alright, for our rigs, you can have fun, swap some of these around. You don't need to have, I put in here just 1 targeting system subcontroller, which reduces or increases your scan's resolution adjustment by 30%, making it easier to lock onto targets. And I have 2 semiconductor memory cells. This gives our capacitor a total of 15 minutes if I was to run everything constantly. It's never going to be running everything constantly, so that's not really an issue. You could probably take one of those out of there, give it a little bit more speed or turning radius if you wanted to. You could play around with those slots as you see fit. Alright, so in our slots over here, for the damage rigs, I have 2 Railgun Burst Aerator 3s to increase the activation time adjustment of 12.5% apiece. The second one of those obviously will have a little bit of a reduction there, but it still is going to help more overall by firing faster. And I do have a Railgun Collision Accelerator 3 for a damage bonus of 17.5%. Okay, so the defense on this ship, it has a total of 100,000 and then 20 effective hit points. 32,482 of that's in the shields, with an EM resistance of 20, thermal resistance of 42, kinetic resistance of 52, and an explosive resistance of 60. This is out of the box with its bonuses, so even though it's range taking, if it does catch any damage, it is going to resist that damage a bit better than a ship that didn't have those resistances would. So that is already giving it a pretty big bonus for all that ancillary damage that you might take, which is pretty cool. Armor, it only has 22,577 hit points, so you really don't want to let it fall down to armor if you can avoid it. But it does have EM resistance of 50, thermal 45, kinetic 25, explosive 10. And for the structure, it has 22,889 with that flat 33% resistance to everything in there. For our capacitor, right now it is at a total capacitor recharge rate of minus 8.68 gigajoules for a total of minus 20.2%. The capacitor capacity is 15,526 gigajoules with a recharge time of 902 seconds. Again, that capacitor recharge time is going to be, well, it's going to last for about 15 minutes and 10 seconds if you have everything active. For our power grid, we're sitting at a total of 15,934 maximum power grid. Our targeting, we have a radar sensor strength of 29 points, scan resolution of 176, a signature radius of 368, and we can lock a maximum of 8 targets. Our navigation, we have a total top speed of 162.4, with a warp preparation time of 14 seconds and a warp speed of 2, and on this fit there is no warp stability. Okay, so that's all the core stats of the ship. Now, one of the main important things of actually doing a long-range fit is how far out can we actually shoot. Without activating any of those target, or can't think, I do apologize, the Eagle tracking computers, we are sitting at a total of optimal range of 92.78 and an accuracy fall off of 36.36. That's pretty good. I mean, just cold. At 50% damage, you're looking at, what, 128 km before even tracking computers are brought into the spectrum. So this thing really can reach out and touch you. It does pretty decent damage while it's doing that. Let's go ahead and take it out and showcase it and see what this thing can do. So the biggest problem with these big ships here, before moving them around and doing missions, is that 14-second warp time. They are going to take quite a bit of time to get from point A to point B. They warp slow and high sec and everything. They did do the mods to actually have everything, the modifiers, to have the warp speeds be a lot better by doubling them in high sec and 50% more in low sec. But that's still quite a bit. Let's move all of our stuff over here while we're doing this. We can put our drones back over here, because we don't need to have those, and just get a little bit organized for combat. As you can see, I haven't actually taken this ship out in this fit as of yet. Okay. Let's move our guns. Let's just put all that up there. Let's have our target painters together. There. That looks pretty decent. Cancel that. So 5 and 3. Let's go ahead and warp out at 100. And just like pretty much any of the long-range fits, the first thing that we're going to do is turn right around. We'll take a look at what its range is going to be, how far out we're actually going to be able to hit with the tracking computers, and see how impressive that actually is. So normally I'm all a flutter with the Amar ships and think they look pretty amazing. I think this ship actually looks pretty good in its own right. To me, it looks like a giant rifle. Like, it looks like a rifled railgun itself. I don't remember which one we came from. I wasn't paying attention. Let's just go that way and see what's going on. Whoa, got a bit of a lag spike there. Okay. So, we're gonna lock up our targets. We still with the little targets. So see, even with the increased targeting, those little targets still take quite a bit of time. Let's go ahead and activate, well, not that. We're going to activate one of those then. We'll activate that and hit that. And we're going to hit that one as well. And let's take a look and see what the range is on this. Optimal range 130 with one activated with a 50 km accuracy fall off. Puts a 50% damage at 180 km away. That is crazy. That's going to be well outside of the target painter's ranges. So they're probably not going to be much of a help. But you can sit way out here and do some crazy stuff. Yeah, we don't really care. Let's activate another one. Okay, let's stop both of those, see if we can get them on a closer track together. Boom, boom, boom. Excellent. Alright. This shot should miss. Oh, we did some glancing. And we're going to activate our damage. And let's take a look and see what damage we're at. 1,400 DPS. 482 to be exact. So these guns fire really fast. So we're sitting at 124 km out. We don't have any of our computers activated. And we're just going to go ahead and stop here and activate one. So sitting at 125 km away. Now this ship, it gets a majority of its DPS based off of the speed on which it's firing. So unlike the cannons, you don't expect to see the bigger damage numbers. You're just going to see a lot of smaller numbers, but they're going to be much faster. One of the things to take into consideration for that as well means that you should be able to switch off to a new target much quicker as well, which is going to be very, very helpful for the ability to shoot smaller ships that might be coming at you. So even at 134 km without the computers on, it's able to hit just fine. With the computers on, it's within range, I think 130. Yeah, 130 km. So that's with one computer going. And we're still, even without the computers going, able to hit and apply damage out at this range. That's pretty cool. Okay. Activate another one of those. And just sit back here and let it do its thing. 130 km away. So if you were going down the railgun path and you're excited about Tier 9 coming out with I think a little over a month now, maybe a little under a month, depending on where you're at, this ship could be a very amazing ship for you. It's going to be able to hit out at some crazy distances and just be very, very safe. And definitely not a bad ship at all. hitting these extreme ranges is going to be very good for the purposes of doing T10s and whatnot. So just sitting out here, laying down the hailfire. Alright, as these guys get closer, it just becomes easier for us. We don't have to activate them nearly as often. Obviously, I wouldn't be normally this far away for this mission. I would go in, but I wanted to play around with that range and just see. And what we'll actually do is we'll start moving again for the next wave as well and just see how far out we can truly get during combat. It does do some piss poor damage when you're out this far. And you haven't. Let's try to get these back in alignment. Alright, so we're gonna activate this. Oh, it took it too long to activate the second one. Oh well. Oh. Okay. And there we go. So able to play the game real safe. Now one of the things I have noticed when I'm looking at this is the power grid. I was keeping an eye on that. It's actually dropped down to 59, 58 firing here. Okay. We're going to approach again. We're going to lock up some of these guys. Alright, our buddy there is getting mighty close. And let's target him up. Okay. You know what? Let's stop both of those. Let's get all of this stuff running. Oh, we did the whole thing again. Oh well. So we'll take some getting used to with using the multiple fires. I should probably just do focus fire when I want to fire with those. That would make more sense. But a lot of people have put in my comments when I do a lot of the range fits, one of the things that I do see, and I think it's just a misunderstanding, is they're like, well, why would you have a ship that has over 100 km range? How is that over 100 km range going to be good for you? So I wanted to go ahead and go over that now that I have a little bit of time to. So, and this is the perfect example of it. We're sitting out here at 132, 124 km. Yes, we didn't warp in. We're not actually doing an orbit in these cases. We're actually just approaching our exit, and we're going further and further away. And one of the things whenever you're doing a lot of the harder missions is you want to get to that area to where you can de-aggro the stuff off of you. So usually about the 250 km range. There does give a little bit of give and take with that, as it's not a precise. Sometimes I've been doing missions and had those ships stick to me up to 280 before anything happens. Now, to be fair, I haven't pulled anything out that far since they did the update where they teleport back. But I do hear from Eternal Echoes and other people as well that they don't always teleport back. I don't know if that's intended or not. So in this case here, we're just going to go ahead and approach this guy. And the reason for that is I know we're doing a long range fit, but I want to get in and play around with the afterburner a little bit, or I'm sorry, the micro warp drive. See what that does to the power and how this ship is going to function going in and out like that. Alright, so let's take a look at our fittings while we have that up, and it does look like the navigation is at 958.61 for the maximum speed with the micro warp drive. meaning that this is a relatively slow ship. It's even going to take multiple cycles of the micro warp drive to actually get the ship up and going. So that's something to keep in mind as well for when you're about to kill your last ship in the wave. You want to definitely make sure you're facing the right direction and moving that way. Alright, we can turn this back off. And this is what I mean by the dip in and dip out. If you're going to use these long range fits, there's also something to be said about having the inertia stabilizers on for the rigs that allow you to actually turn better. So once you're getting into this aspect here, you see the ship here is now turning and taking the better part of forever to do so. So any little bit, if that was 30% quicker, you may be, oh, that's only going to shave off a second or two. Well, that can be a big time when you're doing that multiple times during an entire encounter. So yeah, now we've dipped back in. One of the things you want to do too, going back to what I was actually saying about the anomaly. So we're at 101 km on the security threat right now. As we approach our exit point, we're going to get further and further away from that. So sitting at that 250-ish marker means that you're going to be way away from the guys when they spawn, and as they come to you and stuff like that, having that range is going to give you the extra buffer zone, which is really cool. So if you're 250k away from a spawn point when you're doing a T10, for example, and the spawn happens, and after the spawn happens, you have 8 small ships with micro warp drives that are going to be coming towards you. You have plenty of time to let those ships either separate from themselves from the ones that are faster than the other ones, or get into your optimal range. And they fly into your range, they're coming straight at you head on, so they have 0 transverse velocity, and your guns can just reach out and pretty much do full damage and one pop them in most cases. And some of the really tough ones, maybe a couple of shots, you're good to go. Once you get rid of all of the very fast ships that are coming towards you, it's very easy for you to keep your maneuvering to keep them at the ranges that you want. Also, when dealing with some of the very fast battleships, themselves, we're going to have much more time to get to you, and you can let them break away from the pack. And whenever they break away from the pack, that's going to make it a lot safer fighting them away from the pack than if you're fighting them in a mixed pack with a lot of other guys. So it is very good to actually have those type of ranges. Alright, so what we can see here, it's one of the things we're looking at. They're all at about the 140 km. We can see which ones are actually speeding towards us, and in this case it really doesn't look like any of them are speeding towards us, so this gives us our basically pick of the litter. Now, because they are so far away, we're doing reduced damage, we might as well have the both of the railguns target the same ship. So if that guy's at 162 km out, we're gonna stop. 162 km, and we are still lighting him up. Now, mind you, not doing a ton of damage, but we're hitting. That's pretty cool. We're talking about some extreme distances here. Okay. Whoop, I thought that guy was firing too. Let's stop that. I want to actually move over to this one here who is 156 km out, and all of our computers are off right now, so we are going to have to wait for that cooldown a little bit. There's really no point to shoot currently. That's okay. Alright, so we'll activate our damage, activate one, and both of these guys, and boom. 152 km out, we are laying down some really, really big damage. Yeah, I would say this ship is very impressive. If you do like the range battles, you are in railguns, this ship is going to be quite well. And again, like I said, having that extra tank is going to really help out. What are you going to do with those mid slots though? Your target painters, you're a bit outside of any type of range. 126 km is what you're looking at, is going to be at 50% effectiveness for them. So I mean, you still would get some use of them out here, I guess. You could turn those on and get something on it, but there might be something better to use there. I personally don't know. I mean, obviously, if you're going against some of the tier 10s and whatnot, you may just want to replace and put some more armor wrapper, or the armor shield wrappers in there. Alright, let's get the damage applying back again. Alright. So we see the extreme range that we have here. Let's go ahead and move in. You can play this as safe or as dangerous as you want. And that is the cool part about having these range fits. You can move in and fight as close as possible to stay within your optimal range. And just move yourself out whenever you need to, you know, not take as much damage. One thing about this ship that the armor tanks have that this one doesn't, armor tanks have that shield buffer. So you get to watch your shield take the damage hits first, and you can go okay and make adjustments based off of that, and then get ready to armor tank when you need to, if you're going to need to. With this, you're starting to take that damage right away, and you really don't want to get into armor, so you have to make decisions quite quickly on whether to get out or not. Another reason why having the rig that makes you turn better might be a very good choice to have on this ship. Okay. Now we're going to approach him and fire, but I am not going to activate my tracking computers any longer. What I want to do is go ahead and take a look and see what the actual maximum range is going to be if we do activate all 4 of those tracking computers. And that's just for fun's sake. I mean, you only get about 10 seconds of firing whenever you do that. More commonly than not, you'll probably activate 2 at a time if you're really far out and need to do that. Okay, we got about another 20 seconds. We'll activate all of those. And we'll just see. Set approach. This should turn us around eventually. Okay. Whee! Alright, now we can activate all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. That puts us at 194 km optimal range with a 73.81 km fall off. So you could hit way out there. That's quite funny. Let's activate the damage as well. Get that going. Just apply that little bit more damage. So you even see him at your average 100k. Most things aren't going to be able to hit you. There are going to be ships that are equipped with the large railguns, large cannons, large missiles, large lasers that might be able to reach out and hit you because they're fit with the tracking computers as well. A lot of times you'll run into elites, especially whenever you're doing the storyline missions, that can reach out and hit you that far if they spawn with that setup. So that's when that ancillary damage comes into play, and why having multiple of the wrappers might actually be the thing that you want to do just to be on the safe side, just in case. You start taking a barrage of damage, you really don't have anything else in this ship to save you from that. Alright, let's see what activating 2 would do. So if you just activated 2 at a time, you would have to have a bit of downtime, but you can get 162 km optimal range with 62.7 fall off. That is what, 224? Is that 50% damage? That's pretty dang far. So that's actually quite impressive. Not bad at all. Is it going to be the fastest ship at killing? Well, you've seen some of the other videos, you'd be able to tell on that. However, I do think this ship is extremely effective at what it does, and will be worth every penny that is sunk into this ship. It's going to do you very well, and if you're looking to upgrade to that battleship whenever your time comes up for Tier 9, this may be a wonderful choice for you, especially if you're already in the rifled railguns or railguns period already. Also, with the ship having that tank on there, it should give you the ability to have some type of good close range build that you can do with it. You all know how I feel about ships that have the ability to do close range and long range builds. I think they're really amazing and open up the game quite a bit. You get way more bang for your ISK, way more enjoyment out of it when you can have a ton of different fits and it just doesn't incorporate one fit on one ship. Love it when they can do that. Alright guys, well this was fun, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see a ship or you have a request, let me know in the comments below. A lot of people have left me comments, and I actually want to talk a little bit about that before I go. So some of these comments that I get, especially one in particular, they're asking for the prophecy. This guy right here, Prophecy Guardian. I wanted to do a video on that ship, and I tried to. Well, that became a little difficult. The Prophecy Guardian, I don't think is intended to be a solo ship in any way, shape, or form. And kind of as a little bit of a surprise, I guess, I was going to end the video, but I'll go ahead and put this part in. I don't know if I'm going to do a full video on the Prophecy, because the Prophecy Guardian, because I don't really have the ability to. I would have to talk to some people, and which maybe I can. I might be able to get together with some people and everything like that to really showcase how I think it should be used. It does look like it's going to be more of a logistics ship, and I would have to have others to do that. The damage on it is just pretty abysmal compared to a regular Prophecy, and I don't see why, when you have much better options at Tier 9, that you would want to have this ship for anything. If you're currently in a Prophecy, you're going to do so much more damage and be able to clear missions faster than you would be able to in the Prophecy Guardian solo. So I don't think it's going to help you out in that manner, and I found that a little disheartening. Whenever I put together, I still think the ship is an amazing ship and it does deserve to be showcased, but I just don't have the ability to showcase that ship here alone. And I do get some of these requests from time for the logistic ships, the Guardians, things like that, and it is really, really hard whenever you're doing solo videos like the type of content that I produce to really showcase what those ships can do and how they perform. So I didn't want you guys to think that I'm skipping over that or just forgetting or whatnot. So I figured I'll give you guys a preview of that Prophecy Guardian here and what I kind of came up with when I was taking a look at it. So for everybody who decided to watch to the end of this video, you are getting a little bit of a bonus. And we will go through the whole thing too. So the Prophecy Guardian itself, it is a Tier 9 Amar ship, it is a Guardian ship, and it is a battle cruiser. This ship here, the damage on it just wasn't what I wanted it to be, so I played around with it quite a bit, but let's take a look at what it gets for its bonuses. So for its roll bonuses, it gets at 20 km drone control range per level. Oh, I'm sorry, just 20 km drone control range, period. Not per level, it's a roll bonus. It can fit command bursts, which aren't in the game, and it can fit large armor links. And for advanced battlecruiser defense upgrade per level, it gets plus 4% armor resistance, which is pretty good. Advanced battlecruiser command bonus gives it plus 15% drone DPS per level, which is on any size drone. This can fit medium and it can fit smalls, and 5% drone velocity, so the drones are going to go and get there faster. Its overall defense is 39,880, with a flight velocity of 201, warp speed of 2.7, a power grid output of 691, capacitor of 3,089 gigajoules, and a cargo hold of 800. It is primarily an armor tank, and out of the box would have 50 EM resistance, 35 thermal, 25 kinetic, and 20 explosive. Now that being said, if we look at the ship itself, as you can see, this ship doesn't look like any of the other ships that I've fit before. What I found with this fit here is if you are going to be using this ship to help out your friends, which is what I highly recommend you use this ship for, the fit that you're probably going to bring to the table with this ship, and the high slots, which I have two, I put in a Core C-type large remote armor repper. This is going to heal 685 armor for whichever ally you choose. I also have a Corpum C-type medium remote armor repper, which is going to heal 274 armor. The reason why I have the large and the medium is fitting both of those in there is going to be hard. If you look at the ship, the power grid on it is maxed out in this fit. So this is taking every ounce of energy. This would be, I specialize in the prophecy. I have max skills in this. I was able to actually get this done, and there's still going to be a little bit more you have to do in order to make that work. In the mid slots, I have two large group armor reppers. They're going to have an optimal range of 24 km. That being said, the optimal range on your large remote armor repper is 18, and the medium is 13, so you're probably going to be closer than that. You're going to want to keep a tight group. Now this ship only has a 70 km optimal range for its drones, so when you are with your buddies, you're probably going to want to stay within that range. Now, you can get much further than that, and I'll explain that when we get over to the rigs. We'll talk more. It only carries 4 drones, and like I said, they can be the medium or small. You can put whatever you like in there. However, you can see in this fit here, you only are applying 289 DPS. In the low slots, I did have a Nest Worm drone damage amplifier for more drone damage. You could swap that out as well, but I have a Gistum C-type medium capacitor battery for my next fit. I used to have another drone amplifier in there, but if you look, the capacitor on this ship is only lasting 47 seconds if you have everything running. You should not have everything running on this ship at any given time at all. But in case you do have to run a lot more, that capacitor battery is going to help you out. It's also running 2 Corpus Z-type adaptive armor hardeners. And I have a Corpus C-type large armor repper. I know what you're thinking, why have all of this repping? Well, you're repping for yourself and for your friends. I had a micro warp drive in here, but I couldn't fit the micro warp drive and this fit, so I did downgrade to a Corlium C-type medium afterburner. So you're not going to be moving at some extreme speeds if you decide to do this fit, but you will be able to move around a little bit, and your team is going to kind of have to play around you and make sure they stay in. Now, when we go to the rigs, you can see I actually have 2 empty rig slots down here. And the right-hand side for the engineering rigs, I have 3 ancillary power grid router 2s, increasing the power grid of this ship by 12.5% apiece. You would need those to fit all of the stuff in this ship. So you would need basically max skills and those, and you're at 1,292 out of 1,295. Not much wiggle room. And here's what I was saying, your drone control range augmenter gives 15 km range, and that puts us at that 70 km. The reason why I have these other 2 slots empty is because I was having a dilemma. And the dilemma comes in here with your Mark 9 Medium Armor Link module. The Mark 9 Medium Armor Link module, what it's going to do is ships that are within 15 km of you, which you're probably going to want them because remember, you're going to be remote repping if you can as well. It's going to transfer 50% of the damage when activated to you. So you're going to be taking some of the damage. So how do you want to play this? Well, I guess it's really going to depend on what you're grouping with. If 70 km is okay, I would recommend putting additional defense hardeners in there for whatever you're fighting against. Or you could go all around and put some in there for the explosive and kinetic to beef up those resistances. You could also increase your actual hull or your armor strength by using the Trimark armor pumps. Obviously, you'd probably have the 3 unless the 4 is released to actually give you more armor hit points, since you are going to be taking damage for your friends. Lastly, if you're going to be more offensive focused, you could put the range in there. Let's say you're going to be grouping with a bunch of people who have over 100 km range. You could add 2 more of those in there. That's going to give you an additional 30 range. That'll put you at that 100 km marker. As long as you're at 100 km or further in, you're good. Also too, if you're not going to be the primary tank, you, which you shouldn't. I mean, you're splitting up the damage. You know, you want them to actually get shot, and they're gonna deliver 50% of that damage to you. Once they're in armor, you would want to have a team that is doing armor tanking, obviously, for this particular fit to work. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, what did it look like with all the damage rigs in there? Okay, well, I'll show you that as well. So if we throw in the damage, if you go to your rigs here, let's put in some drone damage. If we do a drone firepower, I have one, luckily. And let's do a drone speed augmenter. Okay. So that's pretty much maxed out damage. We could add more of those in there, but you're looking at 380.97 DPS with almost a full damage fit. Yeah, we could squeeze more drone damage in here. Let's do it. Let's put in 2 more. We're fighting at 70 km out. We shouldn't have to worry about that. We're just going to all damage out this ship. We haven't even broken the 400 DPS marker. So this ship, I don't think, is designed in any way, shape, or form to be the primary damage dealer. It's going to help do damage while it's help taking care of its friends. Obviously, we could put whatever we want in here as well. And you can just imagine what it would be with whatever you want to put in. We're just going to throw in 2 medium lasers here real quick. Medium lasers, you have another 138 DPS coming from those, but these are very short range. They're not going to hit. I did experiment around with putting other stuff in here also, like cannons. We have the medium cannons in. I mean, you're going to be doing 50% of the damage listed at, what is it, 47, 48 km out. So don't quite hit the range there that you need to be at your 70 km. You could put in rapid fire missiles or regular missile launchers. It doesn't quite have the energy. Even running the so what we can do, we can take off the large. So if we take off the large, one of the things you can try to do in here is maybe fit some large weaponry in the top. We have, what do we have at our disposal? C-type large missile. Cool. Another C-type large missile. Cool. We're able to fit both of those in there. So you got 203 DPS coming from missiles. Missiles are going to hit out at missile range 86. Awesome. So you can have some large missiles on there, and you could do a total of 602.83 DPS if you manage to have maximum large missile skills and have maximum drone skills for your medium drones. So if you pulled that off, you could get 602 damage out of it. That's a lot of skill investment in this ship that, well, really isn't designed to do that. And I really think that your prophecy is probably just going to be all around better. You could probably get out farther drone control range and more damage out of it with the regular prophecy. So then why would you upgrade to this ship? Well, because you're going to planning on using it for its defensive capabilities. That's my personal opinion, and I just kind of wanted to show off that. I've been looking at it. I haven't been trying to ignore everybody. I've been trying to figure out how that's going to be best used, and I just couldn't figure out a way to showcase this ship the best. So just wanted to leave off with that. I hope you guys liked this video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.